So for today's video, I decided to paint my OC, no surprise. I feel like I've been drawing her a lot. But the difference with today's video is I've limited myself to only the painting set in Procreate. I can't remember if I've tweaked some of the settings of these brushes or not. But basically I wanted to see if I could use like traditional emulating brushes, if that's a word, to sort of get across a more traditional vibe with my digital art. Does that make sense? I think it does. For the rules as well, I allowed myself to use multiple layers. Here I'm just testing out all of the brushes and seeing which ones I kind of like. The reason why a lot of these brushes are set to like their default setting, even though usually I play around with brushes and like tweak them and stuff, is because about like 6 months ago my iPad decided to crash. Now it was like when I was loading Procreate and I had like 100+ gigabytes of Procreate files that I just didn't back up, and everything kind of went alright because like my screen was frozen. I tried to like unlock it. I tried to like turn it off and on again and everything, and it just wasn't letting me open Procreate. But like the option, or like it would crash every single, like it wouldn't even load. It was just like dead. The only option it was kind of giving me was to like delete Procreate and reinstall it. And I was like, oh, has it come down to this? I should have really backed up my files, but I didn't. So RIP. Neither did I like back up my brush preferences and everything. So they kind of like all died, which was sad because I had like some stamps as well of my username and stuff. So I need to do those again. But yeah, it was so sad. But it was like I was given like, obviously like I had to make the decision, as in like it was in front of me, the choice. I had time to like be like, oh okay, I'm about to lose 100 gigabytes of files. But ever since then my like iPad's been running like smoothly, so I don't know. But the like ishly good thing is that a lot of like my finished artworks, I exported them already as like pictures, as like photos, like PNGs and like JPEGs or whatever. So I have a lot of them, and then basically I started making a file where I like exported stuff which I haven't been using, like a backup file. I should really back up Procreate, is what I'm saying, but I haven't. I still don't think it's backed up. So there's like there's probably a moral somewhere, but I clearly didn't listen to it. Anyways, so yeah, back up your files if you know how to do that. I really should. I really should. I'm so sorry. Anyways, but yeah, that's why like the brushes are set like mainly to their defaults. I think there was one brush where like the sort of stabilization was really high. And I was like, there's no way I could really use this in an effective way, so I decreased the stabilization. I was first like going with like more of a sketchy line art, and then later I ended up just sort of going more of a painty method rather than a line art method, even though the reference I was using was like more of a line art method, because like I have like painty style and then I have like line art style. I think maybe I'm done with the sketch now. I haven't even edited the footage, so I don't know, but I remember that I like mislabeled the sketch layer as line art because I don't know what I was doing. It's been so long since I've screen recorded. I don't even think I posted anything that I've like screen recorded digital art wise. So yeah, I tested a different couple of brushes for the outlines and everything, and from amongst them I chose Nico, I believe. The Nico roll. I sort of used it in like a similar way to like ink pens. That doesn't make sense. Like how I ink traditionally, I guess, with pens is what I'm trying to say, where it is a bit more scratchy and a bit more sketchy. And as you probably have seen, I'm using the picture of Laura and Hamish as the reference for this piece. If you'd like to see Laura's story, she belongs to my story called Majestic Guardian, which is a fantasy story that will go places. It will go places. We're only on book 1 right now. We're only at chapter 1 right now. The second chapter, hopefully, it will come out next week, but there's a lot of drawings that I need to do for it. There's a lot of like voice overing, editing, all that jazz that I need to get done for it. So yeah, I have a lot to do. Anyways, so If you want to catch Luarah, she's in Majestic Guardian, the first chapter of which you can check out down below and in the iCard. Things happen, there's drawings, there's voiceovering, there's like subtitles, so you can read along as well. That's also what I've been spending my summer doing. I said it last video, but I'll say it here as well. That's kind of what I spent my summer doing, was writing the story, like Luarah and Oliver's. Oliver, you might have seen a couple of times. If you're watching on like desktop, then if you check out the banner, that's Luarah and that's Oliver. This is also Luarah. Hopefully I've started doing the coloring now. But I think for the coloring, I was basically playing around with the brushes. I played around with the gouache brush first and sort of like building up the way like I would with like watercolors and stuff. And then I think on top I used like the watercoloring brush. So I was switching between those two mainly. I think at some point later on, as I kind of said, I make it into more of a painty thing. This is something that I do that I don't like hear a lot of people talk about. So, art hack for anyone interested. If you're at the point in your painting where you cannot afford more layers on your canvas because of like how big your canvas is, but you need another layer and you're forced to merge like two of the bottom layers or whatever, just duplicate your canvas. That's what I do all the time. Before I have to make that like sort of major jump and like, oh, it's like if it goes wrong from here, then I'd have to undo so much or whatever. I just like duplicate the canvas. So that way I have like that one as a sort of like safety net. That's probably how I ended up with 100 gigabytes of files that I had to delete. Anyways, so yeah, that's like a thing. I kind of forgot what I was talking about, so sorry. Oh yeah, I feel like this is more like of a Procreate tip, if anything, because I feel like if you're saving on a computer, you might as well save versions of your art. For my Procreate people, if you are forced to merge layers because of the size of your canvas, just duplicate your canvas before you take that like leap of faith. So you have that safety net. So moving on, I was playing around with her hair. I don't know, because like sometimes I'm so inconsistent with my art style and sort of like the color schemes I use. I'm at a stage now where like they sort of have like differing sort of color schemes throughout the books. I mean, I feel like that's not too big of a spoiler that Majestic Guardian has books, because like the first book, this is book 1 that we're dealing with. So yeah, like sometimes the hair's like more of like a fiery orange, sometimes it's more like this, which in sort of like the book or whatever, the words of the novel, I think I say she has like burnt orange hair. But yeah, sometimes it's more fiery orange in my depictions, sometimes it's more burnt. It kind of just depends. Anyways, I ended up at some point like giving her like yellow highlights throughout, like kind of, but I didn't want her hair to seem too yellow. But so I just kind of put it everywhere, I think. That's what I did. I can't really remember what I was doing. Anyways, and then at some point I decided to like add a bit of a background. Like I was testing around different things. I did kind of like the drapey look, but then I didn't really go with that. I forget why, even though it's nice. And then I ended up like duplicating my canvas and just like trying to paint. Forget which brush I'm using. I think I was playing around with the Fresco, something like that, and the acrylic one, I think. Something or the other like that. And then at some point, like her skin seemed too blended in with the background. So I just decided to sort of like darken the background, if anything, because I was like, it's either I have to like paint over a lot of these features again and whatnot, which is like worse. So I might as well sort of like darken up the background. So first I was like sort of manually adding in like darker patches and then blending them out. And then I realized, oh wait, this is probably still very see-through, because like a lot of these brushes have like a transparent quality to them. So underneath, I just, on a multiply layer, I like darkened it. I think it does give a bit of a, what do you call it, painterly look. It is different from my like more, I was gonna say more traditional painting style, more traditional digital painting style. As in, it's more different from like the way I usually digitally paint. It's still fine. It looks nice in its own right. Let me know how you think I did. Here's the painterly version of Luarah, and this is sort of the sketchy one. And that's kind of it for now. I'll try my best to continue uploading regularly Like, so with the pilots, I started saying live laugh Laura, but then I ended up scrapping sort of like the yappy session. So I don't really end with live laugh Laura anymore in the sort of chapters, which makes me sad. I kind of want to do it again. I don't know if I do end with live laugh Laura. Maybe I'm just lying on my teeth. I can't remember fully. Oh my god. Anyways, bye. Bye bye bye. Live laugh Laura, baby.